Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at the most stressful moments in the God of War franchise.
Now I will show you the true power of a god!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Rhythm Minigame, God of War 3. God of War 3 is rife with stressful moments for both Kratos and the player. But if there's one moment that stands out, it's the Flame of Olympus puzzles in the Olympian Citadel. Specifically, it's the giant harp puzzle. And if you want to fight Hercules, you're doing that musical puzzle. It's not the most difficult thing in the world, and maybe it was designed to break up the pacing a bit, but it seems to be a little too good at that, and it just takes you out of the game. Why is Kratos struggling with a puzzle like this? Berserker Trio, God of War Ragnarok.
Come under the cruel, dagger the cold, and bitter the flame.
Everyone knows the Berserker mini-bosses are difficult, and there seems to be a trend with recent games including extremely hard duo bosses. But in Ragnarok, it's the Berserker Trio, with Svipdagur the Cold and the Sisters of Ithska. It's already a top contender for difficulty, but in terms of stress, this boss battle easily takes the cake. Svipdagur will rush down with two axes while each sister respectively zones you with projectiles. Their combined relentless offense means that you'll be spending most of your time dodging with barely any opportunities to strike back.
Once we have defeated these berserkers, what then?
We pay the king a visit and give him more of the same.
The Trial of Archimedes, God of War Ascension. God of War Ascension is a prequel, but they really didn't have to take the hellish level design from the early games with it. Nevertheless, here we are with the Trial of Archimedes. As mentioned before, this level design would make Hades cry. It's pretty much just puzzles at first glance, which doesn't seem so intimidating. But the real challenge comes from the grueling combat you'll have to endure in between. This thing is so tough that it was patched to make it easier, and even then, it's still a Herculean task to overcome. Sigrun, God of War 2018. Sigrun is a name that inspires fear and awe in many. Gamers remember the trial and error they had to endure against this absolute monster of a foe. And if there's one boss fight in the same vein as the trio of berserkers, it'd be Sigrun. She has since become an infamous God of War boss and has become iconic for her difficulty. Many controllers have died in her name, and many more are sure to fall in future attempts against her. Each Valkyrie leading up to her is challenging in their own right, and she puts together every single element of that in her moveset. Sigrun is not to be made fun of.
Thank you, friends. You have saved the Valkyries.
Death of Deimos, God of War, Ghost of Sparta.
You let this happen to me! You were supposed to protect me!
For a lot of people, the God of War PSP games seem insignificant, but that couldn't be further from the truth, and they play a huge role in Kratos' character development. We learn of a prophecy that perfectly describes Kratos and his brother Deimos, which leads to Deimos getting abducted by Ares and Athena, when it should have been Kratos. We end up having to fight Deimos, and there's nothing more painful than having to take out someone you both feel indebted to and also fail to save. Kratos tries to redeem himself by saving Deimos, but it just wasn't meant to be. Deimos dies anyway while fighting Thanatos, the god of death, together with Kratos. And this was the last straw to push Kratos over the edge and finally decide that all the gods must die.
It is not over. The gods will pay for this.
Saving Kratos' family, God of War.
I have taught you many ways to kill a mortal, Kratos. Flesh that burns, bones that break. But to break a man's spirit is to truly destroy him.
There's nothing more morbid in God of War than Kratos' own backstory. These stories haunt him, and throughout the first game, they manifest as nightmares and visions that Kratos has as you progress the story, until Ares uses it against Kratos, as a dirty trick to try and win their fight. But this isn't actually here for how stressful it is for Kratos, but rather how stressful it is for us, the player, to fight the Kratos clones. Although it's definitely stressful for Kratos too. But these things are brutal on the harder difficulties. The music is dramatic, the scene changes as you fight, and the Kratos clones are really hard to deal with. It's a perfectly stressful concoction.
All that is left for you is death!
Oh, not again.
Leaving Calliope, God of War, Chains of Olympus.
Calliope,
Father?
my child.
Why did you go?
I am here now, child, and I will not leave you again.
In God of War Chains of Olympus, Kratos spends a majority of the game hearing Calliope's melody on his adventure. It lured him to Elysium and Persephone, who helped him enter Elysium to see Calliope again. Unfortunately, the consequences for doing so are too dire, and Kratos would forsake everything if he stayed there. Having been betrayed and tricked by Persephone, Kratos has to leave Elysium and his daughter behind. And it's almost poetic how the hardest QuickTime event in the series would be Kratos pushing his daughter away rather than his typical boss fight against the gods. It's an immensely stressful lose-lose situation.
At that moment, Kratos knew his destiny was not with Calliope. The fates were never that kind.
Atreus' sickness. God of War 2018.
Right after I finish killing your father! Whoops! I think I broke him.
As we've established by now, if there's one thing that can get Kratos to act, it's his family. Faced with the fear of losing his child again, Kratos must rush back after Atreus' mysterious sickness takes hold in a fight against Modi. The game has built up the dependency and relationship between the two up to this point, just to make it actually sting now that you might lose him. Kratos is so scared that he's in the literal sense willing to travel to hell and back for a cure. So he digs back up his past and takes up the Blades of Chaos once more, all while being haunted by Athena taunting him. It's simultaneously one of the most stressful and badass moments in God of War 2018.
You cannot change. You will always be a monster.
I know.
Fighting the real Tyr, God of War Ragnarok, Valhalla.
The invitation was yours.
I would have signed it, but it was important you come here for your own reasons.
With all the things Kratos has been through in God of War, it's no wonder he's got some knots and problems to work out. Narratively, that pretty much sums up what he's going to do in the Valhalla DLC too. But mechanically and systems-wise, the God of War Ragnarok Valhalla expansion is a roguelike, and at the end of each run, he'll face off with Tyr, who can be seen as his therapist in this regard. However, Kratos' therapist is immensely powerful, and taking all that effort to get there just to get absolutely destroyed by Tyr is very stressful. That's the thing with Tyr, he's a total powerhouse, and his boss fight gets harder and harder each run. There's barely anything more stressful than reaching Tyr just for it all to be in vain and having to start over.
Stop, Kratos. I yield.
Hard fought.
Escape from Hades, God of War.
And Kratos fell into the underworld, the river Styx beckoning below, the currents strong enough to carry even the strongest mortal to his eternal resting place.
With everything we've covered so far, you'd think it couldn't get any worse. But anyone who's played the first God of War could tell you there's one moment we haven't covered yet. Of course, there's no stressful God of War moment quite like the Path of Hades. Kratos is thrust into the underworld and has to escape what's essentially Greek hell. But what no one expected was for the real hell to be the horrible platforming gameplay going through it. Just look at this! And once you get to the vertical pillar with the spinning blades, if you get hit once, you've gotta climb it all over again. There's no doubt that this is the most stressful moment in all of God of War.
Let go, fool! You won't drag me down to that cursed river!
There is a task left for me above. I will see it completed.
You again?
Which moment was the most stressful for you? Let us know in the comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.